Hey y'all, welcome back to Sassy Seat, a segment of the Blind Table Talk podcast. So glad you joined me again this week. Tonight, I have a great treat for y'all. And this is so special and dear to my heart because I am actually at the table with my beautiful daughters, Mariah and Max. Hi, Mariah and Max.
Hi,
Hi.
hey everybody.
So, we are here to share with y'all our experiences of, well, their experiences, I should say, of growing up with a blind mama, which is me. But, just to hear it, there's a lot of parents, blind parents out there that have sighted children, and their experiences are definitely different than other children for multiple reasons that we may or may not discuss here. But, their childhood, well, I'll let them speak on that. But let me tell you a little bit about my girls. Okay, so we will start with the oldest, and that is Mariah. Mariah is 20. Oh my God, please don't mess this up.
Come on
28?
now.
20,
28, yeah.
28. Yay. Okay. She is 28 right now. I am like really honored because she is in the army and she right now is stationed in Honduras. So she is coming all the way live from Honduras. And Mariah is a pilot. She's a helicopter pilot in the U.S. Army. So that's my baby. And then my baby is little Miss Max. Hi, Max.
Hi.
Max is 17. She will be 18 this year, and she is a junior in high school and also has just got her first job. She also is working, and she's the only one of my I don't know if you guys realize this, Mariah, but the only
Mm-hmm.
one of my children out of my five who actually had a job in high school. So that is my Maxie. So I want to start, girls. Like I just, overall, what are your thoughts and like, of just having a blind mom? Did you guys, notice or feel any different in your childhoods with having a blind mom? And
Well, I would like to say that I feel like I felt like everybody else when I was growing up. I didn't realize that, households were not like how ours was, but I
mm,
would just like to say that even when I went to somebody else's house and I saw that their parents were sighted, I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I didn't feel bad about it. I'm just like, okay, so that's how I'm different. Okay, that's cool.
mm, okay. And just so our listeners know, Max was born. I was totally blind when I had Max, and so she has never experienced the me as a sighted mom. Mariah was, I believe, 8, right? Yeah, 8
Yeah, I
when
think
I
it was
went
7 or
blind.
8, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you kind of had a little bit of me with sight. So what
Yep.
about you? How did you feel?
So I think overall, I thought it was kind of cool.
Mm.
I thought like friends would come over and I would let them know, hey, like my mom is blind, just to kind of give you a heads up. And they would come over and they would be like, where is this blind mom you speak of? That you're like, you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're doing everything that they would expect. I don't know what they expected. I didn't really have anything in mind when I warned them, but
Right.
I thought maybe they expected like you to be in bedridden
Yeah.
and us
Yeah.
to be having to cater
Yeah.
to you or something, but they were like, oh, okay, this is not even a thing, like she's kicking it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that is it because you guys did and Max, all of you done it. You warn your friends. Like
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially with me because I'm the one that has to feel. I mean, Max
That,
just had a
yep.
she just had a friend here the other day and I was like, "Can I feel you?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh." But, and I do that, but they all do get warned. But do you guys feel like because a lot of the stereotypes out there, right? You kind of touched on it when you said that people expect, you guys to be taking care of me and all of this stuff. And um, do you guys feel like your childhood, there was more put on you because I was blind that maybe a child should not have had that responsibility of?
No. I feel
No?
like no, you were like you were very independent. You still are. You're still like very
Yeah.
independent and like the only thing you would ever need help with like saying the color or something, but even then, like you
Mhm.
have your color readers. Like
Yeah.
I feel like maybe when we're going to the store or something or like
Mhm.
something like that, something that you would need sight for, but other than that, you know how to cook, you know how to clean, you know how to do everything that everyone a basic person would do.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. I agree, but I do think that, you know, when I was younger, technology wasn't as robust as it is
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
You weren't as fortunate to have, I mean, you remember your little black computer that was just high
Yeah.
speed, top of the
Yeah.
top technology.
Yeah.
That was kind of what you had. But yeah, it was different back then. And so I do think that I at least felt a little bit extra responsibility.
Mhm.
You still could cook, you still could clean. I mean, and you were still the responsible adult of
Mhm.
of us.
Yeah.
I mean, but to an extent, you know, if we go somewhere, I know that I'm making sure that I'm guiding you. I'm walking you
Right.
in and taking you to the right place. And you know, you might be like, okay, take me to whoever looks like they're in charge or something
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
Or, you know, even reading mail, I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't mess these words up. I got to she needs to know what this piece of mail
Yeah.
says.
Right.
Little responsibilities like that. I'm not going to say it was too much, but it
But
was definitely probably more than the average child
yeah.
has to
Yeah.
have it. There was not much um, kicking back when we went out somewhere, unless you know there was another adult, and then of course we
Right.
were.
And you know what? That's a good point because here's the thing. You guys had me at two different stages of my blind journey too.
Yep. Mhm.
You had me when I thought my life was over,
Yep.
right? That's when the start came for you. You
Yep.
had me when I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not gonna." Do you remember when there was a time I wouldn't leave the house without a sighted person?
I do remember that. I do. I do.
You
You
know,
you come so far.
yeah, I would not leave the house, and even though because remember I started the nonprofit, or I did all this stuff as a independent woman, right? Blind woman.
Mhm.
But in reality, I really was not as independent as I should have been,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know? And so when you guys were younger, your response, which makes sense as to why Max's difference is like, no, it's all I don't feel anything difference because when Max came, by the time she was old enough to recognize and realize anything, I was a
Mhm.
whole different blind woman.
Right. Right.
I was so much
Exactly.
more into my, you know, and confident with my abilities and confident. And the white cane, remember, you guys used to be ashamed of that white cane too. I think we were all ashamed of that white cane. Because they used to, until remember, but when we would go to Six Flags or Magic Mountain or something like that, you
For real.
guys,
Whip that cane out.
yeah, now you wanted the cane.
Yep.
But any other time,
Yep.
it's like, Mom, you don't need your cane, and I was okay with that. I
Mhm.
didn't want the cane because I didn't
Mhm.
want people looking at us. And I think that maybe that's what is that why you guys didn't want it because you felt it brought attention to me, or why do you think?
Yeah, that's why I was embarrassed of the cane. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like because now I'm like, okay, whatever, who cares? Because it's just
Yeah.
a regular thing now to me.
Which is what I had to that's what I had to do. I had to get that attitude because
Mhm.
I didn't have that. I don't care, whatever. Mine was like, oh my God, people are going to be looking at me, all of this stuff. But, and then, the embarrassed part, that's not what I wanted to be recognized for, was being the one with the white cane tapping all around,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know. I, I also think too, and when you guys were younger, um, well, see, there's such an age gap between you guys, right? And
Right.
so it makes a big difference, again, in technologies and things of that nature too. But there was a time that we were so stuck in the house unless because we didn't use Uber and Lyft the way we do now. Like Max and I go
Mhm.
everywhere. When
Yep.
Mariah, when you were younger, we had to rely on somebody to take us somewhere.
Yep. Right. Right.
And so I felt like that could be another thing. However, I still made sure we had somebody taking us where you guys needed to go. That was important to me too, for your events, your activities, things of that nature, you
Right.
know. But but I don't know. I think that the times definitely make a difference. So, if I had to ask you guys, what was one of your most embarrassing blind mom moments? Can you guys do you guys have one?
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what. Okay,
Oh gosh,
so
oh my goodness. Didn't expect it to be.
remember, okay, wait. Remember when we were at the store, right? And then
Mhm.
somebody said, "Oh, you have a nice dress," and you were like, "Oh,
Oh,
thank you." I'm like,
yeah,
"Mom, she wasn't talking to
that
you."
Oh
was
my gosh.
And then she was like, "Oh, your dress is pretty too." And then you're like, "Oh, whatever, I don't care."
yeah, right. No, Maxie, that's funny because that's one of my most embarrassing moments too. And people ask me that because that was funny because she said that and I answered, and then you're right. She was like, "Well, yours is pretty too." And in my head, I was like, "I don't want no pretty, what is it? A pity,
A
nice
pity
dress comment."
compliment,
Yeah,
right?
no, you keep it to yourself. I'm like, no, it wasn't for me, but. It was funny because now I get to the point where I won't somebody will be talking to me and I'll purposely not answer because I don't know if they're talking to me or not. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, never mind. I don't want to be embarrassed like that again, especially with compliments. Oh, your hair is pretty. Oh, thank you. No, not you. Oh,
No,
okay. No, not you. Oh, my bad. All
that
right,
was
Raya.
funny.
What about you, my love? You probably have a lot more to choose from. What you got?
It's funny enough, I do actually have two kind of things that come to my mind that I'll mention briefly. But the
Okay.
first one is, do you remember when I got caught shoplifting?
Oh yeah, yes, I do. Oh,
So
tell them this. This is a
kind
good
of
one.
it was kind of a combination of like blind mom but also black mom,
Yes.
because I'm in like this back corner room. I am embarrassed. I mean, I'm scared. I don't know what's about to happen. I just got caught stealing. And so I called my grandma, she called my mom, and I was probably waiting there for like 30 minutes. And all of a sudden I hear, "Where is she at? Where's the thief at? Where is she? No, where is she?" So, and it was so embarrassing. And of course, she's being like escorted inside. So she don't know where she's at. She don't still don't even see me. She's like, "You better speak, you better say
Yeah.
something." And I'm in the corner. I'm like, "I'm over here." It was so embarrassing. Obviously, more than anything for my actions, but still, the fact that you were
Yeah.
blind kind of
But
tacked onto it. I'm like,
no,
this
and it
fucking clown show
I
right
know
now. What is happening?
we- because and I was like, no, take her ass to jail. Take her. Remember when I said
I'm like,
that?
"Mom,
Yeah, I was like,
no."
no, take her ass to jail. We do
Yes.
not do
Yep.
that was so funny because I remember that too, and I was acting a fool. I was like,
You
no,
were
we don't
acting
play the
up.
especially, you know what pissed me off about that? You had money in your pocket.
I did. I was having fun. I don't know.
Like, no, she want to steal. I don't raise no thieves in my house. Take her ass to jail.
Hmm.
And you were like, Mom, no.
No.
That
Yep.
was so funny. Yeah.
That was
Okay.
funny.
What was your other one?
Okay, so my other one is a little bit more kind of on the serious side. I remember we were
Mm-hmm.
at the store and we were actually with your sister Antoinette,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody was trying to get where you were standing. You were kind of parked up with the cart,
Right.
and they were trying to get there, and she was like, "Excuse me," and you didn't respond.
I did. Yeah, I remember. I didn't
And
hear her.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't hear it. And yeah, you can't see it. So you didn't know
Yeah.
she was right up in your
Talking to
face.
me. Right.
And yeah,
Exactly.
and she's like, "Excuse me." And you still didn't say anything. And she's like, "Hello." And she's waving her hand up in your face
Yes.
at that point. And Antoinette, man, so much respect for how she reacted, honestly, because she was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm trying to get here." And she's like, "She is fucking blind. You do not wave your hand in a blind person's face." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know." And she's like, "I don't care if you didn't know."
No,
It
she did.
was a
And
scene.
as much as I was bothered, like and in my sitting with her, and I was like, oh, I kind of didn't mind that she went, even though she
I
probably could
didn't
have
either.
handled it a little bit more, nicely, but
Right.
the girl was like, and then remember when the girl said, it's not like she has a sign on her forehead. Do you remember when she said, I was like, oh
Don't
my
remember
gosh.
that.
Yeah,
I
she
do
said,
not remember
yeah,
that
she
part.
said it's not like she has a sign on her forehead because I was in La La. I don't know what I was doing, but I was not
Right.
paying attention. But
Right.
when Antoinette came And she just started going off. And at first I was like immediately embarrassed because I heard Antoinette just going off, right? But then I
Yeah.
realized, oh shit, she's going off because
No.
of
Yeah, no,
me.
because she
Oh,
had me
wait.
fucked up.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Hold on.
She's like, she was waving her. And then after the thought, after the fact, I realized like there was a freaking hand waving in front of my face. And I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
really notice that. I didn't have time for that to click in because Antoinette jumped in so fast. But
Right.
yeah, that was in the
That was
beginning.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did really respect her for doing that because I think, if I would have done something, it would have just been, oh, mom, like we're in the way. Come on, let's
Yeah,
move. Like,
right.
let's get out of
Yeah.
this lady's way. And
Yeah.
like, hold
Mm-hmm.
on, no, lady. Like, it really, it
Yeah.
did show another perspective of like, what the fuck are you doing? You don't do
Yeah.
that. You
Right.
blind or not? What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. And that's a struggle we still go through every day as blind people. People are
Right,
just and that was such my personal space. Why are you even that close to me to even be waving your
right.
hand in my because I really if I would have been on my P's and Q's more, I should have grabbed the hand and snatched it up and did something,
For real.
but
I mean, what do normal people do when somebody is in where the spot they're trying to get at the grocery store? They fucking
right.
wait. Just wait
Yeah. Yeah.
until they're done, until it's clear.
Yeah.
You had to get there right now. I mean, it was so
Yeah.
rude. It was very
Yeah.
rude.
Yeah. That is. Yeah, so okay, so those were some embarrassing moments. Those are funny too, though. And it's just,
Hmm.
it takes me back to so many, um, you know, my journey, right? My blind journey and
Hmm.
and how far I've come. Because in that moment when that happened, I really was not comfortable standing up for myself either.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
So do you guys think that you guys have a certain, this question was asked recently by somebody about do you think you're more empathetic or, towards others, to other people or to other people with disabilities because of you being raised with a blind mom?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I definitely can put myself in their shoes way easier
Yeah.
when if they have like if people with disabilities, I feel like I can relate to
Yeah.
them much better than I could if my mother was sighted. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Does it make you want to help a little bit more or be a
Oh
little
yeah, yeah, yeah.
nicer? Like be like, oh, let me help you, you know?
I mean, not like if they don't need help, but like
Well,
if they like
keyword though,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because
Right.
that's another problem. I don't need your help. But
Mm.
people, just because we're blind or disabled, you ask if they need help. If they say no, then, keep it
carry
pushing.
on. Yeah.
But no, we have people that will say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to help you." No, I don't need your help. Well, no, it's no problem at all. No, it is a problem. Stop what the hell you're doing.
I remember when we were in a metro and he was trying to buckle your seatbelt for
Oh,
you. I don't
that
know if you
was
remember that,
Uh-uh.
but
so,
I'm
What?
like
yeah.
just watching, like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
Like, and
that
then
is
he was
so,
so awkward. Like
yeah.
she can do it herself. I don't know.
Right.
That
Yeah.
didn't seem
No,
to right with me.
yeah, I did not like that. I don't like that either.
Mm.
Yeah. What about you? Are you nicer? Because you're not, you're like your mama. We're not always the nicest people, but do you feel like you have a certain level of, higher empathy for disabled people? Or for
Um,
people, period, right? Like it just people, like, I don't know. Does it make you as a nicer, softer person in any way?
You know what? I don't know. I find myself with age just being a little more empathetic in general than
Period.
I,
Yeah.
period. So, but I think if anything, the opposite,
Right.
personally, because
She got that. She got it.
she is fine. I mean, I think people who have never experienced maybe a non-sighted person in their life, or
Yeah.
maybe even a deaf person in their life,
Yeah.
maybe don't know that they are capable. You like you said, they might come up to you and be like, "Oh my gosh, like let me help you."
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen my mom do everything,
Mhm.
sometimes better than people who can even see. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't feel I'm empathetic in the sense of like, wow, good for you, you're doing it, you're
Yeah.
killing it. But
Right.
I don't feel like there's any sort of need to do anything. I
Yeah.
think you got it.
Right.
Y'all are killing it. Y'all can do
Yeah.
whatever the hell you want because I've seen my mom do it plus some.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good point. I always remember too, Raya, do you remember when I took you to my blind party?
Oh my gosh, I sure do. I sure do.
What were your thoughts about that? Was so funny to me that your response and reaction to that. What did you so just for my listeners, so I took Mariah to one of our, little blind parties, and this was, a few years back in my more so partying days, right? And so what did you see and what did you expect?
Uh, I expected like bingo or blind Scrabble. I don't know what the hell I expected, but y'all were crazy. I think that was probably the first time I had come to Texas where
To
you
Texas,
kind of
yeah,
found your blind community. You know, we
right.
didn't really have
Hmm.
that in San Diego. So I
Right.
had no clue. I know my mama is crazy. I don't know about nobody else.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, y'all were partying, y'all were karaoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, how do you karaoke? Y'all are just singing on the mic, really.
Right. Yeah.
You're not just
Yeah.
fucking going. Y'all were
Yeah.
bumping and grinding everywhere. I mean, y'all were crazy. I still remember that. I had so much fun. One of the
Yeah.
most fun parties I've been to, but it was
Yeah.
just like a normal party.
Right. And I told somebody, you told me that. She was like, there's something wrong with this picture. Two things. Like she said, I had the most fun I've ever had at a party, at a blind party.
Hmm.
And the second part is I've had the most fun at a party with my mama. Remember you said that? You
So
were like,
true. That is so true.
yeah, yeah. You were like
Yep.
with the fact that I was with my mom at a blind party and
That is so true. That was so much. Well, we've always been like best friends, though. We've
right.
always had
Yeah.
so much fun together.
Right. Yeah. We will make
But
the
that
party
is so
wherever we
true.
go. That is so
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and that is, and then, so here's the other thing, and I know that this comes because I do have a lot of, blind friends now, and Raya, you haven't experienced this, and so this one's going to go for Maxie because a lot of, times I'm around blind friends, and Max does happen to be the only sighted person sometimes in the room. And Max, what are your thoughts about that when you're the only sighted person around a bunch of blind people?
I know I'm gonna be called a lot for help. Like
Yeah.
that's just it's just inevitable. Because I
Yeah.
feel like remember one of your friends, I don't know what I forgot her name, but she would always like call on people for help even though she was fully capable of doing the
Yeah.
things she called for help with.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like you're abusing your power a little bit. It's just like
Yeah. 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 No, and that's true because, I have, functions all the time where there's no sighted people there, right?
Mhm.
And we manage just fine. Like everything gets done. People, we get served, we drink, we party, we have all this. But then soon as a sighted person comes along, all of a sudden, oh, then Max, can you do this? Oh, Max, can you do that?
Hmm.
Anthony had it bad too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Anthony had it bad. Anthony used to tell me one time, he's like, Mom, can I just stay in the room? Do I have to come out? Because, and then I felt him though, because somebody would spill something. Again, if he wasn't there, we would get it ourselves. Now, that
Hmm.
doesn't mean that my kids aren't going to help, naturally on their own, because you guys have always done that. You see a problem, but that doesn't mean when something happens and you're like, oh, well, don't worry about it. Anthony will get it, or Max will get it,
Right.
or you know what I mean? There's a difference with that because independence for some reason goes out the window when sighted people are around. I've noticed that with a lot of people too. So
Mm.
I know that Max, and then Max is one of those that cannot say no.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I try to minimize, and it gets to the point where I'm like, hey, you want my daughter to, you're gonna have to tip her or something because I did not bring her with me so that you guys can, have some eyes to keep running back and forth and bidding your things that you got to do. So I think it's fair, and I think all of our parents need to realize with our sighted children that, it's already one thing for you guys to have, a blind parent and have to do for them, but we really shouldn't expect our children to, cater to, a whole team of other blind people too. Now,
Yeah.
but being nice and helpful is a different story, and sometimes, I even take you guys to volunteer and help, and that's what you're there for. But
Hmm.
if we're all going to dinner or something, that's not for you to be having to run and get people's drinks every 2 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I think that's funny, Mom, that you say that because just earlier you were kind of talking about when somebody tries to insert themselves too much and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, like I'm independent. I don't need your help. And
Mm-hmm.
then when it's convenient or like, especially with somebody closer in the group, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need nobody, but take me to the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't mind somebody going to give me a drink real quick. That would
Right.
save me a
Yeah.
few minutes. I think it's
But
interesting.
But here's the thing with some stuff, and let's not get it twisted. I mean, I have kids for those reasons, right? Because, and it's not a blind thing.
Right. That's so true.
The stuff that I like, I mean, I know I can go get my own water or I can get my own drink. I know I can. But whether I was blind or not, and sighted people do it all the time. They send their kids to get stuff for them all the time,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and
That's so true.
I had to understand, like when you guys were younger, I made it a point to never ask you guys to do anything,
Hmm.
right? Because I was, thinking like it's not my kid's fault that I'm blind. So, I would go upstairs to get something and I'll never forget because when somebody told me and she's like, "Well, why don't you have Jay do it?" And I was like, "No, I'll do it." And I don't want him. And she was like, "Girl, that's what your kids are for." She was like, "You're not putting any more on them just because you're blind. You're doing what is what is it? A parent privilege."
Mm,
So
mm,
that it's a parent privilege. That's what you have kids for. Like let them run and get stuff. That has nothing to do. So when that was put to me like that, I was like, yeah, it's not a blind thing. That's a parent thing. I don't feel like going and up the stairs to run and get something off my table.
hmm.
Why should I have to take those extra steps just to prove that I can do it because I'm blind when I know I can do it, when I can just
Right.
have one of my kids run up there and do it,
Yeah.
Right.
you know? So, all right. So, okay, and I know Mariah, I you mentioned earlier about your confusion on what we want, right? As far
Hmm.
as, sometimes we say, we don't want your help to do this, and then other times it's like be helpful, for
Hmm.
you to help. So what is your confusion about that with us in the blind community or me, period? Like how do I what I do confuse you in what I want or expect from you as a sighted child or person, period?
Hmm. Well, I think with you, I'm always lucky enough to know exactly what you want because you will tell
Mm,
me.
yeah, right. Yeah,
You will let me know. But maybe that's not always the case, right?
right.
Maybe
Yeah,
you're trying not to overstep, you're trying to
yeah.
help but not too much, or you want to fall back but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
And there's confusion there because when I kind of maybe hear you talking about it a little bit as far as with what other people do,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, they just don't know. I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
Me personally, I do know because you'll tell me, all right, back the hell up, or
yeah,
go get that
yeah.
for me. I'm
Right.
lucky like that, but not everybody knows that,
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
that.
That is true. And I think that that's one of the problems is people just don't know. They don't know how to, well, basically handle a blind person,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't know how to not offend them, how to not, because for me, a lot of my part was, like your guys' grandmother, me in the kitchen cooking. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I always had her in there, like doing stuff, but in her mind, in her heart, she's just being helpful. She just wants to
Mm-hmm.
help. In my mind, she's taking away my woman, like she's making me feel like I am not woman enough to cook a meal in my kitchen. And
Mm-hmm.
that may be extreme, but that's how I feel. Like this is my kitchen. I need my independence in my kitchen, and I don't want somebody that's, coming in here because even though it's just to be helpful, in my mind, she's like doing it because she feels I can't do it or she wants to make it easier for me by doing it. And I don't like that,
Mm.
you
Right.
know?
I think that's kind of how a lot of people feel in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of thinking about it from her perspective as well. She's probably thinking the same thing that maybe you're thinking she's old and can't be helpful, and
Yeah.
she just wants to
Yeah.
show you that she's
Right. That she
helpful.
could still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, no, she's stepping on my toes, and I need to
Yeah.
show that that I'm blind, but I can still be helpful. And I
Right.
think that's, yeah, really probably common with
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
Whatever they've got going on, they're like, okay, but despite this, let me show that I can still
Making
be
making
useful and
myself
helpful.
useful. Yes.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
making
exactly.
myself useful. That is
Hmm.
so true. Yeah. So I think that the bottom line too is, one of the things about growing up with a blind mom, you know, you guys get to see a lot of different stages of me, right?
Hmm.
A lot of
True.
different attitudes of me, right? But
So true,
ov
yeah.
overall, if I were to ask each of you to describe me in 3 words, what would you what would you say? How would you describe me?
Mm.
Dun, 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 dun.
Right, right.
Ask about an embarrassing moment. You got it down pat, but ask me to describe
Right.
you. Yeah, I'm just curious, like and it's okay to. I mean, just this is Sassy. C. We keeps it real up in here. So I mean, tell it like it is. I don't want you to feel like you have to sugarcoat or be nice because we're here and you're in front of me. I want you guys to tell me really what you think of me. This was actually something that we did in a workshop a couple of weeks ago. And she went, ask people to describe you in 3 words. You'll be so surprised and it all may not be good,
Mm.
but it's a way of, what do you guys really think about your blind mama, basically?
Mm.
Independent role model.
Independent
Aw,
and what?
Role model.
Oh,
that's so sweet,
I
Maxie.
know.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is so sweet. I
That's good to see me like that.
Oh,
Is role model 2 words? Can we
well,
just
I think
make that
that's two.
one?
Oh, okay, one
Role
word.
model
One.
is 2 words.
I know, but
Oh,
that's one
shit. Okay.
thing.
Okay, okay.
Independent role model. Give me one more.
Independent role model and growing. Like
Growing?
Ooh.
growing like as in growing
Oh, I
like
like
your
that.
personality, like growing as a
Yes.
person. Yeah.
Oh, and you're witnessing it, right?
Yeah.
You, okay,
Mm.
that's a good one.
Mm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh, I love my mom, guys. I love my mom so much.
Oh, thank you,
Maxie,
baby. I
you're so
love you
cute.
too. I
Oh.
love you too. She is the baby, by the way, guys, and she is so spoiled. We all love Maxie so much. She's the baby for all of us because of the age gap that she has. So
Mm-hmm.
she grew up the only child and she was showered. Her brothers and sisters spoil her. Her mama spoils her. Her daddy spoils her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just the baby. We love you, Maxie.
I love
Love
you
you,
guys
Maxie.
too. Aww.
All right. All right, Raya, give me your words.
Okay. I have words. I think I kind of just put myself, if somebody asked you how would you describe your mom, but not
Hmm.
necessarily like with a lens of like you being blind, you know?
Okay. Hmm.
So just in general, I would just say independent, resilient, and loving. I can't describe you without describing how loving you are.
Oh, thank
Yes, you are
you.
very loving.
Thank you. And see, and you know what? And it's so crazy because I love hearing that because we all know that there's like so many different characteristics in a person, right? Because I can be so opposite of everything you guys just said too at
Mm-hmm.
times.
Yeah.
It's
That's
crazy.
so true. That's so
But
true.
the thing is, those are not the ones you chose to highlight. So obviously my balance is the way it's supposed to be,
Right, right, right.
because I can be kind of mean and blunt and all those other things that just come out and say what I have to say and don't think about people's feelings and but the stuff that is sticking out to those that are most important to me, which is you guys, they're awesome. I love you
Mm.
guys.
Love
Love you,
you.
Mom.
So, all right, anything else you guys want to add to this discussion? Any points that you want to make about living with a blind mama? Uh,
Um, oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, or last words or final words or anything like that.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say that just because you have a blind mom or a blind parent for any matter, or anybody that's blind in your household, I feel like that doesn't mean you have to be like awkward about it, because it's just like having a sighted mom or a sighted parent or guardian or something, somebody that lives with you. And it's totally cool because now you get to skip to the front of the line, you get special treatment, stuff like that. And it's just like, and it's still your parent, still your loved one, and I feel like there's nothing bad about it.
Okay. And Raya, before you go, I do want to ask this one question for both of you guys too.
Hmm.
And this is the time to tell if you guys have, but do you guys feel like because of your blind mom that you got away with some things growing up that sighted that you would not get away with if your mom was sighted?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh
What?
shit.
Oh, oh no. I don't want to
Wait,
snitch on
Maxie, you
myself.
still live at home, Maxie. You gotta
Yeah,
be
she
careful.
Yeah, Max might want to plead the fifth on this question, right? Mariah, now that you're a grown ass woman,
Right, I'm
you
free.
can tell what have you gotten away with things that because I mean you've been caught with a lot of things too, but
Hmm.
do you feel like you had an advantage of what you can do and get away with a blind mom? Not just any blind mom though, this blind mom. Do you feel you got away with a lot?
I feel like I got away with a lot because I was the only girl for a while until Maxie
Yeah,
came along, of course. But
yeah,
for our youngin periods,
yeah,
I was like the baby girl. So I got away with a lot because of that, I
right.
think. But in general, we always had people around. So
Yeah,
somebody was gonna tell my mom, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
was scared. So I really don't feel like you being blind got
Yeah.
got us out of anything ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then let's not forget, I still did my investigative reporting. I still was finding out stuff,
I know. I
you
was
know.
snitching. I was
Yeah.
telling on all my
Well,
brothers.
well, here's the thing, which you guys don't realize, and I will share, like all of you guys told on each other. You
Mm,
all came and told me stuff, but I played it in a way
right.
that I found you guys never knew how I found stuff out. But,
Hmm.
and you were good at that. You were my little eyes, which is probably why your brothers were just so always like, but even though they never knew you told me, but
Right. Right.
you were good at that. But even Jay and Jared did it,
Hmm.
they all did it. Like, but I made sure that it was you guys were comfortable enough to come and tell me stuff without me saying that Jay told me, Mariah told me, Jared told me. No, you guys never knew how I figured stuff out. But
For real.
I worked that because of my blindness, right? I had to make sure I was on good terms with everybody so that they all felt comfortable enough to come and snitch on the other one. And they were
Hmm.
protected enough to know that I wouldn't rat them out because they ratted you guys out. So,
Right.
so
Right.
yeah. Well, good. I mean, I'm glad that you didn't. I know that Max, you're probably still getting away with stuff, but what Max, you're
Oh,
not, what you don't realize too is that, you get away with a lot. There's probably more than I know that you don't even know I know that
Hmm.
um,
that I just, but you get away with a lot. And one of the things is your mouth. And again, that doesn't have anything to do with blindness, but you have, the way, some of the ways that you talk, I get away, but it's not blindness. I'm just, hell, I'm tired. I'm tired.
oh, oh no,
I'm
that's not good.
tired. I am
That is
tired.
funny.
Like sometimes I act like I don't hear, even though I should have popped your teeth
Oh
out
my
Oh
because,
my
God.
God.
for some of the stuff you said, I'm like,
That is
"Mm-mm.
so
I'm
true.
gonna act like I don't hear that because I don't want to really because I don't want to react on it right now.
Oh
That is so
my
true. That used
God.
to piss us off when we
Yeah,
got older and Maxie was kind of coming to that age. We'd be
yeah,
like, "Who is this kid
hmm
you're raising?" Because we would have got beat the hell up for
yeah,
acting like that.
yeah. Well, that's the difference. Like Max didn't get that. And that's what your brothers try to tell her all the time. Like you have it made. You don't
Right.
even
You
realize
lucky.
how made
Yep.
you have it. Like mom with us, and again, it's not the blind thing because I was still whooping ass even when I was blind.
Hmm. Exactly. I think that's
Ask
normal
Anthony.
with age.
Ask Anthony.
That is so
He used
true.
to get them the worst.
You used
You
to throw
know.
shoes blind. I
Yeah, I
remember
would.
that.
Oh
Your
my
ass was throwing
God.
them across the room.
Yeah. But you're right, it's age and it's different parenting, learning that, not parenting doesn't always work the same for different kids. For example, with you, Mariah, I rarely whooped you. Why? And
Mhm.
this one of all I had to do was tell you, I am so disappointed. And do you know you would break
Mhm.
down and freaking cry like
Mhm.
somebody stabbed you?
That is so true.
With
So
Maxie,
true.
it's Maxie was the equipment. I am taking your tablet. I'm taking your phone. That was a cruel punishment for her. So, your brothers, they needed ass whoopings. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
They didn't care about they didn't care if I was hurt because they messed up. They didn't care if I took their PlayStation away. They didn't care about that. They needed ass
Mhm.
whoopings. That's
Mhm.
what made them. But you guys, which are my girls, that's why I'm telling you I love my girls. Even though girls are a lot more maintenance than boys. You guys, because my
Mhm.
girls are, they're more emotional needy, and that's okay. And I love that because I love my girls. But the boys are
Yeah.
just like it's just like whatever with them. Like they don't need me
Right.
to, but they're also mama's boys too.
Yep.
All of my boys are mama's boys. So, but all right. Okay, so uh Raya,
Mm.
you got any final words or, words for our listeners about your blind life living with your blind mama?
I think overall, I really have nothing but good things to say about kind of that experience looking back. And if anybody's, worried as a parent and, they're blind and they're wondering if their kid is going to be scarred because of it, I think there's a million more things that you're going to do as a parent that's going to scar your kid. And I don't
Mhm.
necessarily think that being blind is one of them.
Right.
You can be just as present, just as loving and affectionate, and really just have the same overall experience as a parent as anybody that's sighted. So don't stress it if that's you, if you're in that situation.
Oh, yes, that, and people need to hear that too, especially those that, have not that are worried about having a child as a blind parent or stuff, because that is what's it about. And let's not forget, you guys, there are sighted parents that are way worse than some blind
Right,
parents could ever be, you
right.
know? So,
Distant. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and you know what? I know I said I was going to stop, but I do want to bring this up, and I feel like, but I've always told myself and listener, whoever is listening, that I like myself better as a blind person than I did as a sighted person, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so with that, I feel like my parenting and my attentiveness and my awareness for my children got better as a blind parent. Would you agree, Mariah?
100%.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
very much
Mm-hmm.
remember when you were sighted,
Mm-hmm.
missing you all the
Yeah.
time. There was
Yeah.
so much distance.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah.
when we were like together,
Yeah.
we weren't really that close.
Yeah.
You were young. I know looking back, I just know you were young. You kind of wanted your
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and yeah, after you went
Went
blind, I
blind.
don't know if it was because of it or whatever happened, but
Yeah.
I remember those years after that,
Yeah.
we got so close
Right.
and we
Yeah.
bonded so, and we became best friends
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you were my best mom is my blind mom,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Exactly. And, maybe, and that's what I was saying. Maybe it was me getting more in tune and self-aware of myself
Mm-hmm.
in who I was and what I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to be,
Right.
and looking back at, like, yeah, I could still be those ways and how I was, but this is my opportunity to make a better life for me and my children, even though I'm
Reflect.
blind,
Right. Right.
you know?
Right. And you could have, I mean, you could have gone the opposite way. I mean,
Mhm.
you could have
Yeah,
easily given
yeah.
yourself more
Uh,
of an out to be more distant,
yeah,
and you
to
didn't.
abandon my kids, right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm blind. I can't do it. Let somebody else take care of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. That is, yeah, that popped in my head. I was like, you know what? I wonder if I'm the only one that feels that way. And I've never
Not at
asked you
all.
that before, you know? So.
No, not at all. We're definitely on the same page there.
Awesome. Well, my babies, I just want to thank you guys so much for coming to my sassy seat and sharing your experiences and sharing, I know that your lives are, I love your lives. I think that you guys are just awesome women because that's what, you're, Maxie, you are coming into womanhood. Mariah, you are, you've become just a wonderful woman. I love you both. And I am so, so proud of the both of you. And, despite your mama, you guys are still so awesome, and I love you guys
because
so
of
much.
mom.
No,
Because of.
oh, thank you. But I just, you guys are both awesome, and thank you guys so much. I love you.
Love you. Thank
You so much,
you.
mom. This was so much fun. We have never just like all three sat and just talked
Yeah, I
about the
know.
experience like this. It was so fun.
I know. Thank you guys. I love you.
I love you so much, mom.
You.
Blind table talk, yeah.